Welcome you all to this session on Earth observation for Pacific disaster resilience. Since we have only 45 minutes, so I'll not go into details on how disasters are impacting Pacific. All of us know, we've seen reports, we have seen stats being shown during this Congress. So I'll skip that part. And what we'll try to do is that today we'll try to explore how space-based Earth observation combined with new innovations like GeoAI, digital twins, and then how these integrate with the partnerships can strengthen the number one, disaster preparedness, emergency response, and long-term resilience across the Pacific. This is again the three ingredients that everybody has been talking about in this Congress, that we need to get the disaster preparedness, emergency response, and long-term resilience in place for Pacific. I'll quickly introduce the panel. If you want to look at the detailed bios, they are up on the workshop website. So first we have Leila. She is the branch head of Digital Earth at Geoscience Australia, and she's leading the efforts to translate Earth observation into practical services for the Pacific. Then we have Seung-Soo Park. He is the Deputy Director, Lunar Lander Program, Space Science Exploration, Mission Directorate, CASA. Then we have Min-Sik Kim. He's the co-founder and vice president of NARA Space, delivering AI-driven analytics to enable rapid disaster response. Then we had Stuart Minchin. Stuart is the Director General of Pacific Community. He's serving 27 Pacific countries and territories. Then we have Futoshi-san. He is the Vice President and Director General at JAXA Space Technology Directorate, one of the world's leader in Earth observation missions and disaster applications. And thank you all for joining us. So this is how we have structured the panel. So we'll go around in the first round, we'll ask a scene setting question, and then we'll explore three themes. The first one be tech and innovation, government and policy, and collaboration. But what I want to do in this session is that I want to keep it very collaborative. So maybe if I get a chance after every theme, I'll open the floor for questions. And then you can ask a question about the theme before we go to the next one. I do understand that we have only 45 minutes, so probably if we cannot cover everything, then we'll probably skip one of the themes. So I'll start with the scene setting question, and on a positive note, I'll try to start on a positive note and end on a positive note, and in between we can discuss everything and anything controversial. So each of you brings a very different perspective. There's government, there's industry, there's regional institutes, and then there's international space agencies. If I ask you to describe in 1 minute the single biggest opportunity you see for the Earth observation to transform digital resilience in the Pacific. Leila, starting from you.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much, and it's really wonderful to be here with such a fantastic panel. So my perspective really comes from government, and in our program we look at Earth observations from the entire supply chain. I am lucky enough to look at the end user end and really driving that impact and value in one of the themes. And one of the themes is what we're focusing on today. I think the biggest opportunity we have as an Earth observation community in this space is actually outside of the Earth observation community, and that is integrations and partnerships outside of traditional Earth observation data programs and mechanisms. When we take the incredible value that Earth observations provide and integrate them with local knowledge, decision-making practices, programs that are already existing, ensure that they are really led and prioritized, efforts are led and prioritized by the leaders in the Pacific and the decision makers, I think we can really drive true impact and value in a really substantively targeted way. So I think that is exactly where we can find quick wins, opportunities in this space through integration and partnerships. Thank you.
Please.
Yes, I think for me the biggest opportunity is not so much in the analytics side because we already know how to detect like fires and floods and everything, but I think the problem is on the data side data delivery. So too often when a disaster hits a region, then most often cases we do not have the satellite data to deliver to tackle the problem. So I think that's one of the main reasons that a CubeSat can be a valuable option for them. So I think that by increasing the revisit rate and making data more affordable, we can ensure that every Pacific nation has the timely and access to the imagery. And and then when the data delivery is done, I think that we can talk about the analytics that can help them to have better decision making. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Stuart?
I think everyone needs to understand that in the Pacific, there's a real lack of capacity because there's a lack of people, right? So the human capacity is not there in often cases to absorb the information or the services. When we come to a conference like this, we see thousands of different choices as to how things could help. And for a person sitting in an island in the Pacific who might be one or two people that are responsible for disaster management, they get completely overwhelmed by the choices and many things that are offered. So the most important thing is having something regular and operational that they know before the disaster how it's going to arrive to them after the disaster. So being fed with a whole bunch of new products that they've never experienced when the disaster is happening or after the disaster is actually pointless because they won't use it. They need to know the product that they're going to get and they need to be familiar with it before the disaster actually occurs.
Thank you. Park?
And thank you very much for having me here. And I think the biggest opportunity leveraging the Earth observation is to provide timely and localized and actionable information that supports communities before and during and after the disasters. For the Pacific, where climate change is making storms, sea level rise more severe, Earth observation can integrate satellite, ground, and community data to deliver early warnings and support rapid response. And by combining the regional partnerships with new technologies, such as data fusion and AI-driven analytics, we can ensure that the decision makers from government to regional institutions have the tools to act quickly and build long-term resilience. Thank you.
Thank you. Takiguchi-san?
Hello. Through my experience, it's essential to balance satellite development and operation with promoting data use. A collaboration approach is also key to turning information into decision-making and actions for disaster resilience. To achieve this, we need reliable, easy-to-use information. As a space agency, JAXA has provided satellite data and products based on our technology for local disaster response. And for example, GSMAP and AEST data provision from Central Asia is this approach. Simply providing information open and free is not enough. What's important is that disaster management agencies understand and use space-based data. To make this possible, it is essential to promote capacity building and through collaboration among multiple stakeholders, including space agencies and private companies involved in Earth observation, as well as disaster management agencies and NGOs who use the information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I was taking notes and I'll just list out what I heard in terms of opportunities. There was mention of integration and partnerships, CubeSats or higher data density, capacity and knowledge in the Pacific, Then came information and partnerships, and the last one was collaboration, easy to use information, and capacity development. So these again are the common themes that you must have heard in other sessions as well. So I think there's an agreement on opportunity that there are 4 or 5 main things that we can do to make sure that there is, we can build the required resilience in Pacific. So we'll move towards the first theme of our discussion, that's the tech and innovation. I'll move back to JAXA. Takagishi-san, JAXA has pioneered satellite missions for decades now. Can you tell us a little bit more about the recent technologies or the Earth observation products that are making, I would say, the biggest difference for disaster preparedness, specifically in Pacific, and how it is being used or adopted in the Pacific countries?
Okay. It's essential to cooperate with disaster management and satellite provider and disaster management organization to create intelligence for action. It's essential to provide not only information but also intelligence for action. Yeah.
Thank you. So I hear is that when it comes to technology, there has to be information plus action. Minsik, moving to you. So we do understand that NARA is leveraging AI or GUI for super resolution and faster analytics. And how do you see AI transforming how we process and deliver the satellite data or Earth observation data for disaster resilience?
Yes, thank you for the question. So I truly believe that AI is transforming the way we process the data, but I think it's also affecting the way that we deliver it. So in our case, we use polarization data to make the public data into more near commercial data. So in case of Sentinel-2, we enhance it up to 3.2 meter so that they can be used more for the collapse building detection and everything else. But I think since we are at the era of LLM, LLM is affecting our great way. And the one way that we collaborate with AWS is that we use LLM to not only to, when we get the request from the customers regarding the data, then we just recently we just put it to our AWS data LLM, and then when we used to process Azure manually, but LLM just take the data and just decide on how we process it, what kind of analytics we use to process it, so that we don't have to have any human in the loop. So that would vastly help us to tackle and deliver not only the data but also analytics with automation. So I think that's the next step that we are proceeding with AI technology. Thank you.
Thank you. So I heard the word LLM. That's, I would say, the new generation of AI. And this is where I would like to bring in the audience. We can do a vote, like show of hands. So the question is, do you trust the new generation of AI? And do you think it can help us address some of the challenges in Pacific more swiftly? If you agree with this, like, if you think that AI can really help us, please raise your hand. Okay, I think the yeas have it. So the majority does think that the AI can be helpful. Just to plug it in, so today USA launched their policy brief on responsible use of AI for Earth observation. Please do check it out. If we develop LLMs, but they do come with a responsibility that we need to make sure that they are fair, equitable, and then they don't exist as black boxes. Going back to the tech and innovation, Dr. Park, Korea is I think, leading in terms of space innovation in the Asia-Pacific region. How do you see the next generation satellites evolving to better support decision makers during crises, especially in Pacific?
Okay, I want to point out 3 things where next generation satellites are evolving. And first, geostationary satellites are becoming more capable. The Korea's GeoComSat series has expanded from basic weather to environmental monitoring and the upcoming GeoComSat 5, which will be launching in 2031, will improve resolution and add more spectral channel for real-time observation of storms and wildfires and air pollutions. Second, the LEO systems are shifting to the constellations. The Korea is developing a set of 11 small satellites called NeonSat that will revisit the peninsula 3 times a day, providing frequent high-resolution images to rapidly assess floods or landslides or damage. This real-time capability ensures that the decision makers can act at greater speed and accuracy in the face of crisis. And the third one is satellites are integrating disaster-specific sensors and AI analytics, as Min-sik said. And future GEO missions will carry wildfire cameras with finer resolution and ionospheric sensors to detect early earthquake signals, while AI platforms will automatically process raw data into usable products like flood maps and risk indicators. In short, the satellites are becoming more precise and more frequent and more tailored to crisis measures, turning EO into a real decision-making tool that saves time, resource, and lives. And thank you.
Thank you. So before we move to the next team, I would want Pacific's take on it. Stuart, how does this sound to you? And is it enough? And does it align with the needs in the Pacific?
Yeah, thanks. So I get very excited about technical advances and opportunities and doing things better and doing things innovatively. However, what I think the Pacific actually needs is not 1,000 new ways of doing things. They need a regular service that they can rely upon on a daily basis or a weekly basis, that they know what exists. And this is what Geoscience Australia has done with Digital Earth Australia. We're trying to do this through Digital Earth Pacific, provide regular services, the coastline change on a regular cadence, how mangroves, how healthy are the mangroves, where's the water, how is the depth of coastal water changing over time. If you can produce this regular service, then people in the downstream areas can actually assimilate that into their decision making. If we keep changing and saying, "Oh, here's a great new tool that you can use," they don't actually use it because they don't trust it. And this gets to the second bit in deciding which products you provide. That has to be co-designed with the end users. Every product in Digital Earth Pacific, every product in Digital Earth Australia is co-designed with an end user who is actually going to use it for decision making. Right? So I get very excited by the new tech, but that new tech has to be integrated into regular products. If I could use an analogy, we all trust the weather report, right? The weather report continually has the weather forecasts continually incorporate new technologies to make the forecast better, but the fundamental product doesn't change because people know that tomorrow I need to know if it's going to rain or if it's going to be windy and what the temperature is going to be. That's the product, but we don't define those products very well in the Earth observation sphere. And we need to define those products, make those products regularly available so that people that are not remote sensing scientists and not Earth observation or space people can actually access the information in a way that they can consume.
Thank you so much. And I think that's an excellent feedback that any technology or any new innovation that is happening, it needs to be co-designed by the people who are going to use it and going to be impacted by it. I'll come to Digital Earth Australia, but one thing I forgot, if you can show the QR code for the Slido. So if you have any questions, please scan the QR code. Can we get the QR code, please? Anyways, it will show up over here. You can scan the QR code and then you can send us the questions. We are doing kind of okay-ish on time. You have 25 minutes, 2 themes, and around 10 minutes for questions. So please send in your questions and then we'll have a go at it. Moving on to the next theme, the leadership and policy. And I'll move to Leila. Mentioned that Digital Earth Australia was one of the product that really connected with the end user in Pacific. So what lessons from Australia's experience could be valuable for other governments in the room or representatives seeking to integrate Earth observation into actionable insights and decisions?
Thanks. I think you'll very quickly realise that Stuart and I will say similar things about this. We've both worked on digital Earths and we're very aligned in our thinking on this. For those that don't know, Digital Earth programs make Earth observation archives easily available and accessible openly and transparently. It also provides tools and services to enable people to utilise this data at all those various levels of expertise and integrate that data, support the integration of that data into the workflows of government, private sector and communities. What we also do, and Digital Earth Australia is a little bit ahead of Digital Earth Pacific. Stuart has led the way. All credit to Stuart, is provide continental scale Earth analysis, environment analysis products that allows us to classify and both provide change detection for analysis for decision makers and predominantly in those regional and federal, state government levels, but also to users to have the snapshot of the environment, coastal change, health of the environment, land cover classification at their fingertips, even if they're not direct experts in that field. I think one of the greatest lessons we've learnt in Digital Earth Australia, and it's really, again, will be the theme of most of what I say during this panel, is that the greatest success comes from co-design and really having the end user at the core of what you're doing and how you deliver that service. One of our best tools, and then I'm happy to hand to Stuart to further expand on what's working in the Pacific. One of my favourite tools in Digital Earth Australia is Digital Earth Hotspots. That is a tool that enables anyone to see where there is a high potential of a bushfire and where bushfires are currently existing. This is a great tool. I don't know, in Australia, bushfires are incredibly significant events. You probably know that we've had quite significant events over the last 10 years from a national level. How we manage bushfires is at the regional level, local firefighters. We manage it at a state, land, environment management, emergency service level, and at a federal level also with our environmental management partners and our emergency service partners. This product has been developed across government with science agencies, CSIRO, universities to get the world-leading science in there, but also with our land management agencies and the people on the ground. And we continue to build, develop, tweak this product with those end users to make sure that we learn from their experience with it and continue to develop it. But that's definitely one of my favourite tools, and at the heart of it was the end user, and it is one of our most utilised and critical tools that Digital Earth Australia provides.
Thank you. And going back to what Stuart said about co-design, if you or Stuart can take this question, I just want the audience to know that co-design is not an easy process. So if you can share how much time, resources, or investment, whatever is shareable, it took to actually do that co-design or complete that co-design process.
Co-design and on a tool such as Digital Earth Hotspots is ongoing. Okay. We are on a journey. We're still learning. It's incredibly hard. especially when you're dealing with something where your experts are super technical and your policy end users might not be. I often hear, it's like, well, the end user doesn't know what they want. It's like, but the end user knows what question they're trying to answer. And that trying to find that bridge between technical and end user or policymaker, decision maker is difficult, and it takes time, and it is a continuous living process that you have to manage. Not an expert in it. I don't know anyone that's an expert in it, but accepting it's hard and everyone looking for that, the same end goal, and having the end user or end user centric design is incredibly important.
I might just add to that, I think the process of co-design is actually fundamentally a process of creating trust, right? So what you're doing in involving the end user in that process is validating what your technical tools are actually showing. You're building trust in the product. And if I could use an example, one of the products of Digital Earth Pacific that we have everywhere for every rock, every atoll, every island in the Pacific now is coastline change over the last 25 years. Everywhere I go in the Pacific and meet with the Pacific traditional owners of that land, they talk about the challenge they're facing with coastline change at the moment, with rising sea levels, erosion occurring. And when you actually test their traditional knowledge about this, you say, well, where is this a problem for you? Where have you noticed in your lived memory where there's change occurring? And they say, oh, well, it's at my home island, this. So we can actually zoom in and show them the product for their home island. And each time you can see their face light up, because suddenly what was anecdotal for them is there in front of them in evidence, and they can see that it matches their lived experience. And this builds trust every time. And now the Pacific has the ability to show the loss and damage that they're receiving from climate change in real time. They can show it, and they can show it over the last 25 years how things have been impacting. And this is hugely powerful to build that trust, but it takes time to do that. You've got to be willing to accept that your technical solution might not be right the first time and may have things that don't match reality. And then you need to sit down and be humble and work through reworking that product to make sure that it is valid and it is validated everywhere. But the power, once you've got that, suddenly you've got trust, and it's a blending of the traditional knowledge in the region and the science capability that we're bringing to it.
Okay, so what I hear is that it's a very organic process, and we cannot put it in a box and package it and go like, okay, you just buy it and it will do everything for you.
And that it's hard, and it'll always be hard, and it'll never stop being hard, but it's important and it's worth it, and you get amazing results co-design.
Perfect. So again, around 15 minutes left, and I see the questions keep popping up on the iPad, so we need to make sure that we have enough time. I'll just move to the last theme, that's collaboration and scaling impact. Minsik, you have heard about co-design and creating trust. Keeping that in view, what is NARA Space vision for working with agencies like SPC, Geoscience Australia to make sure that the Earth observation is more accessible and affordable?
So thank you. So at first, I was planning to answer things like open data that everyone do, but by listening to Leila and Stuart, I was thinking that it may not be the problem of the data or science. I think it's more about the human interaction, so building trust. And actually listening to the people who are actually close to the end users will be more important. So in that way, I think it's better to start with not only just pushing the data to them. I think it's better to begin in communication with the players like Geoscience and like people like Stuart, and then communicate them, and maybe hopefully we can get our meaningful action to the end users, actual end users, that help them to build trust. Thank you. Thank you for the great lesson.
Perfect. Okay, so we got really good questions, so I'm going to skip my part and we're going to move to the questions from the audience. So we got 15 minutes and we got 8-9 questions. I'll go through them And if you feel that we need to skip that question, it's already been discussed, you don't want to contribute, just say next, and I'll move to the next one. The first question, all of them are anonymous. Okay. So it's more like a comment, but then again, if anybody of you wants to respond to that comment, it would be good. The first is, it's wonderful to see nations wanting to help Pacific. Where does Earth observation fit in the Pacific's overall set of priorities for disaster management assistance? Let's do it.
I'll have a go at this. So, look, this is very green fields still for the Pacific, the use of Earth observation. This Digital Earth Pacific is the first time that the countries really have been able to access Earth observation for decision-making in the region, because the capacity has not been there to actually work with the raw data and to transform it into useful information. So there's huge opportunity to build Earth observation products into many sectors in the Pacific and help the Pacific achieve the benefits that many of us are quite used to accessing, globally. So I think it's, it's wonderful that there's strong interest right now in the Pacific from a geopolitical perspective, but we need to translate that into really tangible and sensible approaches. As I said in the first intervention, sometimes in the Pacific you can get completely overwhelmed by offers of help. When the Tonga earthquake and eruption happened, the Tonga National Disaster Management Authority was completely swamped with wonderful offers of help from all around the world, but they didn't know how to even engage with that. So they actually used SBC to be the filter to work out how to actually pick the things that were going to be most useful and pass through to them. So what I would my plea to many of the countries who want to engage with the Pacific is to do that through the architecture that exists in the Pacific to help the countries already. So, for example, SPC was created to be the capability, the scientific capability on behalf of all of those countries. So going individually, bilaterally to each country, you won't get very good response, because there may be two people in that country who have GIS skills even, let alone Earth observation skills. You're better off coming to us, and we help you, we hold your hand in engaging with the countries, because the capacity sits in the regional institutions in the Pacific, the scientific capacity to do this work. And we are governed by the countries. We don't do anything that the countries don't want us to do. Our whole job is to help the countries achieve things. But if you keep going to the individual countries, you won't get an effective response. It's very different to working in Africa or in Asia, where there's a lot of human capital, and capacity building means training people. If you've only got two people in your government that look after this stuff, you can train them as much as you want, but there's still only two people. So you need to actually go to where the capacity is, which is in the regional institutions.
Perfect. Anybody else wants to have a take? No? That was very comprehensive. Okay, moving on to the other question. This is to all the panel, but again, there's an option whoever wants to take this. What would be the biggest obstacle for government to practically make decisions and execute based on information from Earth observation data? The examples that they're giving is data's reliability, government process, budget. Let's start with Geoscience Australia, and then everybody can chip in, like, what is the biggest, or what's the bottleneck that you see in terms of government to practically make decisions?
Oh, that's a really good question. It goes to a lot of what Stuart has said, and I'll come at it a different way. I think if we look at one of the biggest challenges that the region faces is, and I'm really grateful for what you just said before, we are at risk of inundating with a lot of assistance, a lot of data, throwing a lot of capability there in order, and just swamping them with the opportunity of Earth observation data. We need to make sure that it's targeted, that it's reliable, that what we are offering is actually usable and of use. And that starts from, really understanding what that end user need is. In terms of the capability and capacity blockers, I think they've really been articulated really concisely and well by Stuart already. It's a different environment. It's a group of nations. It's not one body. It's different processes. It's human capacity. It's varying challenges. It's actually a fast-changing environment as well. So, due to climate change and environmental changes that are happening at quite a rate. So I think there's multiple challenges, but in terms of the key one, Stuart lives and breathes this every day, so I will defer to him.
Minsik, your take?
I think I can leave the opportunity to other agencies to answer.
Okay. Dr. Park, whenever go. Okay, perfect. Okay. We can go to one more question. And Minsik, there's a question on AI, so I think we can ask you to take that one. The question goes like, speaking of trust and its importance to uptake, does the current race to deploy AI-generated insights present a very significant risk if you don't pay attention to quality? How are you ensuring quality in your LLMs and making sure that the insights are really reliable?
I think that's a great question. I think this is something that every AI company is struggling with. Even the very advanced one like OpenAI. I think the only way to ensure the responsibility is that we need to have an evaluation tool. That would be the baseline. But I think that would be also necessary for the some objective or evaluation panel that can screen and that can tell you that this is wrong. This is something is wrong about your technology. And as Stuart and Leila mentioned, I think that leads to the topic that we have discussed, like co-designing or any working with the actual end user would be the first path to pave the security and the reliability of the LLM. Yeah, so I think even though this is the era of AI, I think human should be in the center. Yeah.
I think that's critical that there should be always human in the loop policy. We need to make sure that the final output is reviewed by a human, and then it goes out to the public, especially if it's related to disasters. So there are a lot more questions, and what we can do is that maybe after the session you can reach out to the panel member and you can ask the question. We just got 7 minutes left, and I just want to finish again on a positive note. I'd like each of you to give us a short future vision, just in one sentence. Looking ahead 5 to 10 years, what does success look like for Earth observation in building Pacific disaster resilience? We can start from left to right.
Okay, I'd like to introduce our successful system, Synergizing. As for disaster management agencies, to use observation data in disaster data is not enough. Simply providing raw or calibrated data or validated data, not just information. We create to use easy to use information or intelligence. Yeah. So for this reason, Central Asia has been collaborating with the Asian Disaster Reduction Center (ADRC) to develop practical information sharing system and networking with disaster management agencies to support their operations. Yeah. Thanks to collaboration of such stakeholders, the members are now able to get timely and easy to use information successfully to action. We are also seeing increasing participation from disaster management agencies as users, and Central Asia is run for 20 years success. Yes.
Thank you so much. Dr. Park?
Yeah, one sentence for vision.
Okay. You can have more sentences. We still have 5 minutes, so if you...
I prepared one, so...
Okay.
Success means the Earth observation delivers trusted and real-time insights that foster collaboration across the Pacific and ultimately build stronger resilience. And by combining the open data and regional partnerships and new technologies, I think we can ensure that every community has the knowledge it needs to act quickly and in the face of disasters. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Stuart?
I think success means that disaster managers, decision makers in government actually don't know that they're using Earth observation. I want them to have access to a suite of products that help them manage the disaster and the recovery. Now, part of that may be coming from space imagery, part of it may be coming from in situ imagery, part of it may be coming from statistics and census. The products that they use every time a disaster hits just become part of their daily life, and they don't need to care that it's coming from satellite or from somewhere else. So Earth observation becomes invisible, right? But critical and absolutely built into their work every day.
Perfect. Minsik?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with what Stuart has just said. I was just planning to say something about like every villager has their phone and then use the data as a mobile app in the hand smartphone. But I think before that, I think that will take more than like 10 or 20 years, I think. So before that, I think it's better to define the success as since Stuart mentioned, like there's only 2 or 3 people in the whole country to deal with the remote sensing. I think it's better if we define success, make it more like 10 or 20, and then helping them to have better understanding of the remote sensing analysis. And then I think we may move on to the invisible remote sensing data. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I want to build on what everyone else has said and apply a different lens to it, the government lens. I think in 5 to 10 years, success for the Pacific Island nations is that they are actively guiding how Earth observation is applied. They are identifying the priority areas, shaping data collection, and ensuring EO tools are tailored for local decision making, so that capacity development to really have those on the ground, the end user, lead the way. And it means that the governments in the Pacific is applicable to everywhere in the entire world, are equipped to access and interpret that data, integrate it with traditional knowledge, and use it to inform planning, disaster response, and climate adaptation.
Thank you, Leila. So I think I've been taking notes while you were discussing, and again, thank you so much for such very rich discussion and insights. I think the key takeaway for me is that collaboration and co-design is the real multiplier. When industry, government, and regional organizations like Geoscience Australia, they come together, the Pacific gains more than the sum of its parts. And I think that's the critical thing that we need to figure out, that everybody needs to contribute. We are doing really good on time, so we cannot take any more questions. So we just got 1 minute left. I'll just think we can end, and then we'll have time for the audience to interact with the panel. I just want the audience to give a round of applause for the panel, as well as for Nara Space, Alexandra. She did a lot of hard work to make sure the panel was on board, and then hand out for Nara Space as well. We still have around 5 to 10 minutes before the next session starts, so please reach out to the panel. The question that I left out, please come and talk to them in person. Thank you so much, everyone.